My friends, what happened yesterday in the Strait of Hormuz has changed the war economy forever. And most people are still trying to understand the message that was sent. An Iranian drone was approaching an American warship. You already know that. It was launched with the intention of causing the chaos that Tehran has been preparing for decades, but that drone never made it there. There was no smoke trail from a $2 million interceptor missile. There was no boom from a kinetic explosion. There was only an invisible beam. 60 kilojoules of pure focused energy moving at the speed of light. The drone's guidance sensor simply melted. The structure failed. And what was once a technological threat fell into the Gulf of Oman like a piece of molten glass and metal. And the cost of this attack, you must be wondering. Only the electric power needed to pull the trigger. That's what matters. It's the end of the era where the cheap swarm won through economic attrition. And that's how things work when technology decides that the era of brute force is coming to an end. While the drone was sinking, the system was already in motion. In less than an hour, the ports that launched the attack were in flames. Bandar Abbas, Kesh Island, Minab, and Bandar Kargon. Missile batteries were silenced. Even before they were loaded, radars were permanently shut down. Command posts were turned into rubble. The entire anti-access network that Iran meticulously built over the years began to be dismantled in a single night of surgical precision. 3 American destroyers completed one of the most dangerous naval crossings in modern history without suffering a single scratch, absorbing missiles. Swarms of speedboats as if they were in a routine exercise. They owned every inch of that water. They made sure to make that clear to the world. Iran's military spokesperson went on state TV to talk about a ceasefire violation and claimed to have shot down American aircraft, a fictional narrative that no one was able to verify. Meanwhile, the message from the United States Central Command was short and to the point. We intercepted the unprovoked attacks, and we responded in self-defense. Social media exploded. Everyone was watching another attack from Iran against the world's largest navy, and now the superpower was in check. The ships had nowhere to run. Their only option was to face the modern Iranian drones. But soon after, President Trump went even further on his social media. He called the retaliation a nice little love tap. My friends, a warning. Iran now has a very strong reason to make a deal before finding out how hard the other hand can hit, because the next one won't be a tap, it'll be the end of it. For you to understand the seriousness of what's at stake, look at the map. The Strait of Hormuz is only 33 kilometers wide at its narrowest point. 1/5 of the world's oil passes through there. Iran's defense architecture was designed for a single mission: to make this passage so dangerous that no one could guarantee safe transit. And what just happened was that they made the most serious attempt to prove that their doctrine of fear still worked. But before I tell you the details of the Iranian strategy, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and like the video. It takes a lot of work to do this, my friends. Take a look. Fast boats closing in, drones coming from the north, and cruise missiles launched from the coast, all at the same time. It was a coordinated saturation attempt designed to overwhelm any defensive system, but they encountered the Aegis system. The Aegis is the integrated radar and weapons brain on board every Ali Burke-class destroyer. He's the guy she told you not to worry about. You know that personal trainer she says is just a friend? Yeah, the Aegis is that guy. While Iran was trying to confuse the sensors, the Aegis was tracking and engaging dozens of targets simultaneously. AH-64. Apache helicopters, the powerful F-35s and F-18 Super Hornets, tore through the swarm of boats with Hellfire missiles and 25 mm cannons. That's right, friends. The Apache, with its machine gun mounted on the pilot's helmet, shredded the Iranian boats as if they were made of paper. Meanwhile, the remaining drones went head-to-head with the laser system installed on the destroyers. I've affectionately called it the Death Ray. I know, my friends, it's real. The boats coming from behind saw their companions get fried and tried to retreat, but the ocean was the final destination for those who weren't fast enough. 3 destroyers, 0 hits. Naval and air power won the day. The American counterattack focused on the geography of power. Bandar Abbas is the crown jewel of Iran in the Strait of Hormuz. It's the largest commercial port and the headquarters of the Revolutionary Guard's operations. Attacking Bandar Abbas is not just hurting Iran militarily, it's hitting the economic artery and the command center at the same time. Then came Chesham Island, which Iran calls its unsinkable aircraft carrier. It has an area of 1,500 square kilometers. It controls the northern shipping route. Destroying the Bahman pier in Chesham sent a clear message. The Revolutionary Guard lost its refueling capability. Iran's advanced launch platform inside the strait was neutralized. And next, Minab and Bandar Kargon. Minab houses the dispatch center for Iran's Mosquito fleet, the fast boats. Without that center, Iran loses the ability to orchestrate coordinated attacks. Bandar Kargon was the naval control point for those entering and leaving the strait from the east. With those points eliminated, the United States tightened the noose on Iran's ability to launch any maritime assets into the engagement zone. And then we have the target list. Drone launch sites, coastal radars, and command nodes. These 4 locations were mapped perfectly. It wasn't a random retaliation. A planned dismantling of the infrastructure that tried to sink American ships. Iran built this network to make American admirals nervous. But after yesterday, the ones who couldn't sleep were the Iranian admirals. The trail of KC-135 tanker planes in the sky over the United Arab Emirates showed that the attack was sustained and in multiple waves. You don't keep 5 refueling planes in the air for a single pass. Something flew many miles yesterday, and it wasn't moving away from Iran. The Air Force, Navy, and Marine Corps F-35s worked together. 3 variants of the world's most advanced fighter jet operating in sync, protected by F-18 Super Hornet fighters and Apaches. Iran will spend the next few weeks trying to understand how its air defense, which cost billions, was treated as if it didn't exist. But why does Iran keep attacking even with these results? To understand this, you need to understand what they believe they are accomplishing. With their main navy destroyed, they're betting everything on swarms of mosquito boats and missiles hidden in underground bunkers along the coast. They have Shahed drones stored in tunnels that only open for launch, almost impossible to locate among all those rocks. They believe they can cause enough chaos to make the Strait of Hormuz too costly. For America, challenging it would be impossible. But what happened yesterday proved the opposite. The United States and its Gulf partners made the strait too costly for Iran to defend in the long run. And so I want to talk to you about the technology that defined the last 24 hours. On the defensive side, we have the Odin system and Helios. Odin is what we call a soft kill system. It projects a focused laser onto the drone's sensors. The drone doesn't explode, it goes blind, loses orientation, and either crashes on its own or becomes an easy target. And it is already operational on American destroyers, taking down Iranian drones without using any ammunition. Helios, on the other hand, is a hard kill. With 60 key doubles of power, it doesn't just blind the drone, it destroys it structurally. It burns through the fuselage in midair, invisibly. It's the biggest technological flex in history. An endless magazine with no need to reload ammunition, turning short-range defense into the first choice for every ship in the fleet. As long as there's fuel in the engines or uranium in the reactors, the weapon never stops. And on the offensive side, the F-35 was the ghost of the operation. With its APG-81 radar, it tracks and guides weapons while jamming enemy radars without revealing its own position. For the Iranian coastal defenses, the F-35 is a specter that is only noticed when the target has already been hit. It's not invisible to the naked eye, but it disappears from the instruments. This combination of stealth and firepower is what allows the United States to dismantle complex networks in a matter of minutes. Trump's framing of a love tap on social media is a masterstroke in diplomacy. He signals to European allies that Washington hasn't completely left the negotiating table yet, but warns Iran that the ceiling for violence has just been raised. Look, if you want to fight, we will fight. The ceasefire technically still exists, but the threat is now much more real and violent. The Iranian strategy of controlling the Strait of Hormuz through constant harassment and the exhaustion of American political will collided with the country's economic reality. When the cost to defend the ship drops drastically, the drone swarm strategy stops making sense. And now I want to issue a challenge to the lovers of the Ayatollahs. Send me a picture of an American ship hit or sunk by Iranian drones or by the Ayatollahs' missiles, and I'll show it here on the channel. And we prove, once and for all, that Iran can stand up to the United States. But so far we have no idea. Absolutely nothing. And now Iran faces a dilemma. They can sit at the table and make a deal, or they can keep sinking along with their ships. The Ayatollah has effectively been gone since the first day of the war. And the second one is also missing. And the third, the fourth, and the fifth, we don't have them. Iran has no one in charge. The Revolutionary Guard is watching its infrastructure being dismantled piece by piece. And the world is realizing that the era of manned warfare is being swallowed up by automated production that no one can keep up with. My friends, what we saw yesterday was proof that the balance of power in the Middle East no longer depends only on who has more soldiers, but on who masters the speed of light. Iran tried to test the limits of the rope and found out that the rope is now made of pure energy. And I've got a video here on the channel, I'll leave it in the card, that talks exactly about the ultimate weapon that the United States and Israel are using. And that made Iran lose the war before it even started. It's right there on the card, check out this video. My friends, the outcome of this standoff is closer than ever, because the Iranian system has no answer for a weapon that attacks without being seen and destroys without even using a missile. What do you think is going to happen now? Will the hardliners in Tehran finally convince their leaders to sign the agreement, or are we going to see new desperate attacks in the coming days? Force the United States to react in order to stir up domestic and foreign political opposition against the United States and Israel? The goal is to make the Emirates and Saudi Arabia turn against the Americans. But that's where they're wrong. No one can stand this regime of terror anymore. With the United States tightening the noose and Iran losing its ability to project power, the board has changed. Leave your opinion in the comments. I want to know what you think about this new scenario in the technological war. And if you think Trump holds all the cards and just needs to make the decision to end the regime, comment here. Let's go all the way. If you think the United States should make a deal with Iran as things are now, comment. Let's make a deal. Let's see your take on it. I want to understand if you know how to read the board correctly. And to understand what really happens behind the scenes of power without the spin of the mainstream media and without the censorship that tries to silence independent voices, you need to be on our exclusive platform. We already have more than 3,000 subscribers who fund real information, the kind that brings you analysis you can't find anywhere else. The link is in the description, in the first pinned comment, and in the QR code that's appearing on your screen. So come join our analysts in our intelligence bunker. And we've also created a channel for series and movies. Yes, with amazing tips on series and movies free from woke culture, no whining, focused on shielding your mind and your families from this mental programming that tries to turn us into a manipulated crowd. And now we're analyzing two really cool series that talk about the war in Iran. Israel's intelligence agency Mossad and the CIA infiltrate Iran and start investigating the nuclear program. It's a fantastic series, so check out the channel. The link is in the description, in the first comment, and in the card that will appear. Now subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and like the video. It takes a lot of work to make this. My friends, shield your mind. I'm Shimon Oliveira, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then.